We're literally in this economy coming down right now. There's a multitude of things going on right now with gold, oil, conflict in the Middle East, inflation. I've got a clip I want to show you of President Joe Biden, who's preparing America for war on two fronts. Many of you have been asking, and a lot of you don't know, what happens to gold and gold mining stocks in a stock market collapse. I'm going to talk about that in this video, plus I'm going to mention what happens with oil as well. You've heard about Costco selling gold bars, and the first thing I did, there's two things I went and checked immediately to check this out for you guys. I want to make sure that if you're getting into this, you're not buying something that is a rip-off. I've showed you how inflation's rising on various products. I'm going to show you now where is inflation declining. And speaking of inflation and deflation, there's a big deflationary pressure that's showing up now with lab-grown diamonds.
At Peter Leeds, we're all about getting your profits quickly and easily. Please subscribe for more premium investor enlightenment.
As you know, gold had quite a pop the other day, about $62 an ounce. You know, I always tell you guys, don't worry about gold, even when the price drops significantly. And the same thing, when it goes up significantly, don't think about taking profits too soon. In my opinion, you do what you want to do, you do your own due diligence. I don't think you should look at taking profits right when it first has its first spike higher. There's a lot more to come, in my opinion, with oil and gold both. If you think, oh no, now it's too late because gold's gone up $62 an ounce the other day, I still think that there's tremendously higher for gold prices to go, in my opinion. When there's global conflict or a flight to safety, or just based on the supply and demand trends I've been showing you, and now the big one, of course, is everything going on with the conflict around Israel, and as it expands, as it gets worse, there's going to be more upward pressure on oil and gold. Hezbollah has now hit an Israeli tank. Israel and Lebanon, Israel and Syria are exchanging fire. This is all before the Israeli forces launched their widely expected ground invasion into Gaza.
There have been massive protests all across the world. We can show you some video from that. Here you can see in London, right in the middle of the UK. This is in Cairo. Here we have New York City.
And if you're here, you may like this message. So please click like so that we can get our video out in front of the eyes of a lot more people.
We ought to be very concerned. And it's not that long ago that we saw a wave of horrific terrorist attacks in Europe by the Islamic State. I think we can all recall the Paris attack, many others across Europe.
One of the follow-on effects from these higher oil prices, as they go even higher than they are now, is going to be a fueling of inflation, because when oil goes up, everything costs more. Everything costs more to get to places, to put together, the cost of the items themselves. Think of it like inflation being like a tax. It's going to be driving up inflation on all aspects of the economy. At a time when inflation has already had its big inflationary bounce and it's getting away from the Federal Reserve.
We have continuing in Glasgow and Scotland. We have Amman, Jordan. The Jordanian one in particular was massive. This is in Lahore, in Pakistan, Dublin, in Ireland. These have been put together by Al Jazeera. Cape Town, South Africa, where their president also voiced support. Baghdad in Iraq. Naples in Italy.
Our company has made hundreds of thousands of dollars in the stock market because of your wonderful leadership and your awesome perspective. Jamil King, Texas.
What do you think were the first two things I checked when I was checking out the gold bars that are being sold at Costco? I checked that they were 4/9 pure, and I checked the weight of the bars. So the gold bars are good, but then you want to look at what is the price. You can see the price of gold. Go to cnbc.com. There's the price of gold right there, and you can go and see how much are they selling them for. I have no idea what kind of rip Costco's taking, but you can check it out yourself just by going to the price of gold and then seeing what they're selling an ounce of gold for. But I realized that I'd shown you guys a chart of all the things that are increasing in price in terms of the inflation, so I realized I should probably also show you another chart of where is inflation going down. There's a lot fewer places in comparison, but there are many aspects of the economy where inflation is declining. But I'm going to go back to saying something I told you before. The stock market, the investor community, has no understanding of how this is all going to go. They're completely detached from the significance of all the situation in the Middle East and how it could instantly and quickly spiral out of control. If things like there's more fire exchange between Hezbollah and Israel, which there is, if there's more fire exchange between Syria and Israel, which there is, when Israel goes into Gaza, if Iran gets into the war more, if America gets into the war more, and they're both on track for that eventuality to happen, in any of these cases, this could be difficult for the stock market, but they're not actually acting as though they recognize that fact. There are major situations that could happen that's going to really hurt stock markets dramatically and quickly. So where are the safe haven investments? It's going to be risk-off trade. That's going to go into things like bonds, gold, utility companies, defensive companies, and that's not military defense, talking about defensive types of stocks. But given the overall global situation right now in the world, and I'm not just talking about Middle East, I'm talking about with Russia and Ukraine, I'm talking about the South China Sea, I feel like right now, at these current prices, gold, investment in gold, in my opinion, is the closest thing to collecting free money that I've seen in a long time. And because you're a smart investor and you're learning the right kinds of information, you and I both know that gold right now, even without all of the conflict in the Middle East, gold right now should already be trading at over $2,000 an ounce, US dollars. And the way I think that most people would play this for the most gain would be to invest in really high quality gold mining companies that are going to benefit from an increase in the price of gold. Which, sure, gold could come down. It could also go up dramatically. That's a good risk-reward profile for an investor. Gold has already hit all-time highs in every country in the world, even in America, and has fallen back since then. And what else happened at that exact same time? The US dollar strengthened considerably, which puts the price of gold lower. It takes fewer higher quality dollars to buy the same amount of gold. That's why it seems like the price is lower. That's why the price is lower. So here's a chart of the DXY, the US dollar index. You can see as it strengthens, that pulls gold prices and all kinds of prices lower. Gold should be trading much higher based on the supply and demand trends I keep showing you. Since quarter 2, 2022, you see Iraq 33.9 tons, and Germany sold 3.36 tons. Here's quarter 3, 2022. Kazakhstan sold 2.4 tons, whereas Turkey bought 31.2 tons. Here's quarter 4. China, 62 tons. You add up all these purchases compared to the sales. There's a definite demand trend which is incredibly strong. You've got Singapore buying 69 tons. You've got China buying 58 tons. This quarter, in this quarterly period, quarter 1, 2023. Gold should also be trading dramatically higher based on all the monetary liquidation we've seen. Here's a chart of the recent monetary creation in the US dollar. This is why people say, oh, your grandpa bought a house at $20,000 and sold it for $400,000. What a great investment. He did so great. But the $20,000 house is equivalent to the $400,000 house now. It just now takes a lot more dollars. The investment didn't actually comparatively increase in value at all. That's what people don't notice, and that's why they're not understanding the way things are all playing out right now.
And frankly, Hamas will be appealing to other terrorist groups, to the remnants of the Islamic State, to Al-Qaeda, to Boko Haram, to Al-Shabaab, other global terrorist organizations, and encouraging them to raise the flag of hate and attack. And that could stretch to the United States. It could stretch to Europe.
Gold should also be trading much higher considering we are so close to the Federal Reserve pivot point or even a pause point. And with all the things going on around the world and the costs that we're about to incur with war on two fronts, and don't forget, I'm going to show you a clip of Joe Biden getting you ready for war on two fronts. They're not going to be able to keep increasing interest rates without completely breaking the economy in half. So that leads to the philosophy that there will be more likely to hold rates where they are or start lowering rates in the next couple of quarters, which whenever they do it, it's going to be really good for gold. Gold should be trading a lot higher right now as well, based on the fact that all the known and easily accessible gold deposits have been exploited. There are fewer and fewer high quality, low cost gold mines, and we're going through those quickly to the point of, for many decades now, it's been less expensive for a big gold mining billion-dollar corporation to take over another smaller mining company and operate their mine for them than to look for or explore for gold resources in new locations. Which leads us to the question, wouldn't gold miners and the price of gold come down in a stock market decline? A serious stock market decline? Or even in the recession? The answer is yes. And oil would fall too. Oil is a reflection of the economic activity of the world. So if there's a global recession, there's a lot less global economic activity, therefore less of a demand for oil. Oil and gold would both have negative effects of the stock market collapse. And there's a lot of other things that go on, such as margin calls. Somebody needs to sell this asset to pay off the debt on the other asset. So a lot of people will be selling everything. Everything just goes with the stock market crash. But then it becomes about which of those investments actually live to fight another day and emerge from the ashes. Oil will always have its place. Gold will also always have its place. Right now there's more global conflict uncertainty than there has been in a long time, and that's going to override all the negative effects, I believe, from a stock market collapse. It'll bring gold and oil down a little bit at first, but then I believe that they're going to bounce right back up meaningfully and never look back.
A major highlight from these is cities with large Islamic populations, and then also Islamic and Arab countries themselves is seeing a huge outpouring of protests for the Palestinian cause.
What I always tell you about all this uncertainty that's going on right now, in terms of the military conflicts in the Middle East, so many things could happen that no one knows what's going to actually happen. But I always tell you that uncertainty is worse than bad news. I talked about it in UP.THINKING, book available, link below. The negative effect of an event always has more negative effect when there's uncertainty surrounding it. And as promised, I want to show you this clip of President Joe Biden preparing you for a war on two fronts.
Are the wars in Israel and Ukraine more than the United States can take on at the same time?
We're the United States of America, for God's sake. The most powerful nation in the history, not in the world, in the history of the world. The history of the world. We can take care of both of these and still maintain our overall international defense.
And one thing that people are overlooking, I think, is that they may forget that Israel is the only nuclear power in that region. The closest other nuclear power is probably Pakistan. So in all of the Middle East, it's Israel with a nuclear weapon. So if they are getting deluged by an attack from Hezbollah, which is looking more and more likely by the hour, if they have to, the response could be a tactical nuclear bomb. And if that breaks out, they might as well hit Iran while they're at it. That's not my thinking. I'm just saying that's some of the military thinking. There are 9 nations with nuclear weapons. Here's a list of them on screen right now. Speaking of a deflationary force, check this out. They're finding lab-grown diamonds are close enough to real. Per the International Gym Society, lab-grown diamonds are considered real with the same chemical and physical structure as real diamonds. Popularity has rapidly grown in recent years. Market share of synthetic diamonds of 3.5% in 2018 has grown now to 16.5% in 2023. In 2022, lab-grown diamond sales have increased 22%. You guys know that Tammy has worked with me for about 14 years, 15 years we're going on. Just down the hall there in the office at the end of the hall. She's the one who talks to you on the phone when you call. But we've had an ongoing debate for 15 years now, where she always suggests, well, why don't we have a sale? And I've never put any of my products on sale, but I know it's a hard time too for a lot of people. This is going to help you guys get a leg up. The first time ever Peter Leeds has done a sale. So until midnight Eastern Standard Time on Friday, you can get $50 off a 1-year Peter Leeds subscription, or $75 off the 33 Profit Patterns charting course, or $110 off the Peter Leeds Academy. The way it works, you pay the full pop, Tammy will see it come in, she'll refund you the amount instantly. Look around you, you're seeing it. This is why there's no money for the government. This is why our debt loads are mathematically unpayable. It's all come up to this point. I've been talking about it for years, and here you go. And if you like that we're ad-free, sponsorship-free, you want to keep it that way, please look into getting involved with the Peter Leeds Army, link below.